So in this video, I just want to say shalom, shalom. That's how it's accurately pronounced. Here I have a something that is it's pretty interesting. It's kind of a strange topic because not a whole lot of people go into this. A lot of people that do go into this, they have strange doctrines and stuff like that. I want to kind of keep away from that whole idea. But what I have here, and a lot of people who recognize the Proto-Sinaitic alphabet are not going to recognize every single word that's here. And the reason why is because what I have right here is Genesis, or as a lot of Jews would say, Bereshith, or the way it probably originally would have been pronounced, Bereshith. It has a TH at the end, and you roll the R rather than, it's a Semitic sort of thing. It's Semitic. So it would be Bereshith. And all of this really is it's just a I've recreated what I consider to be the Proto-Semitic or Proto-Sinaitic script that would have existed at that time. And I am a little bit influenced by Jeff Benner. I'm a little bit influenced by Dr. Petrovich even. I kind of got like I'm just kind of taking facts and I'm putting them together, basically, essentially. And this is this part of the phrase of Genesis. This is basically just Genesis 1. It might be Genesis 1, 2, or whatever. I don't know the exact numbers because I focus more on the verse than I do the numbers. The numbers are really more so just there to identify what you're talking about. I'll get into that sometime maybe, but what's really important here is the words. And you have how people would say, at least in modern Hebrew, they would say Bereshith or Bereshit. Oops, I'm used to using the other dialect. Bara Elohim et Hashamayim wa et ha'aretz we ha'aretz. Haita tohu vavohu wehoshech al pene thehum wa ruach Elohim, so on and so forth. Merachafath al pene al pene ha'mayim weyomer Elohim Yehi or Wahi or. Now, in ancient Hebrew, things may have been a little bit different. And so, what I'm about to say is going to sound a little more like Arabic than it is Hebrew. Now, that's probably going to weird people out that I say that. Well, here's the thing. It's not so much that Arabic came from Hebrew as it is that or that Hebrew came from Arabic, as it is that both of these are Semitic languages that are both in the same family, if that makes sense. Both of these came from what is called Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew, or Proto-Semitic, as most people would call it. But obviously the language would go to whoever claimed it the longest. And this would be the Semitic people in general. This wouldn't, who's to say that the Canaanites came first, and you can't say that's Hebrew because it was the Canaanites and all this. Listen, these are all the same people, okay? These are the same people. They have very, very, very similar religions, and they came from the same people, and these religions came from the same experiences that people had with God. Now, there's the ancient Hebrew language sounds a little bit rough on the tongue, and here it goes. Bereshith bara Elohim et hashamayim wa et ha'oras. Ras, it's actually as. We ha'oras. Don't know if I'm speaking that 100% properly. Hoitha thohu wa vohu وحشح البناء فيهم والروح إلهيم مرحفث البناء همايم ويومر إلهيم يهي or وهي or. It's actually or. You're supposed to roll your R just a little bit. This is Genesis. This is the Proto Hebrew Genesis. Now, as for all the meanings of the letters and all that kind of stuff, well, that's kind of up for debate. I don't like to get into that too much because that can cause a lot of ridiculous cult-like nature of what the text is supposed to say. But basically, in according to this is at least Petrovich's interpretation of how the Hebrew would have been. He's an Egyptologist, by the way, about how Hebrew would have been read. A lot of the letters were very, or the words were kind of Egypt influence in how they were written and sort of spelled and things of that nature. That's not to say that that's completely how it was, but that's kind of how I'm understanding it anyway. And a lot of the times in this verse right here, I decided to sort of rebirth that. I decided to kind of bring that back to life with this this thing right here. And in Bereshith, I didn't really put the yod representing the E sound. And, in bara, I kind of, and Elohim, I kind of, the last letter of bara is sort of the first letter of Elohim. It's sort of just a continuum where it just kind of goes on and on and on. I don't know if that's exactly right, but prior to the Dead Sea Scrolls, Hebrew, I'm pretty sure, would have actually had less written vowels. Now, there's no 100. I mean, there's kind of some proof. There's different. But I don't think the Matrix Lectionis is really part of the original Hebrew. That's just from what I understand. Now, the meaning of this text. Okay, and this is where things get very controversial because this goes into not the linguistic aspect of the Hebrew text, but in fact the mystical aspect of the Hebrew text. And this is something that a lot of people may not be comfortable with. But the first words here are Bereshith bara Elohim. And a lot of people are going to interpret that as in the beginning, God created. You see, the thing is, the problem that I have with that is create is an abstract. The Hebrew people, now I'm not saying that that the letters themselves necessarily are the reason for this. It just seems to be the way the Hebrew language works. It's just a very concrete language. It's very concrete oriented because of the fact that these were just, this is just the way these people thought. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Jeff Benner, he explains how the concrete mindset of the Hebrews would have been, and who knows what this script would have been like as they were forming it. Who knows what the Hebrew language would have been like as they were forming it. So, it's better to use a concrete. And also, it also doesn't make sense that this would be the word create. It would actually be the word to fill up. It would actually, bara means to fatten. Okay. And with this word here, it's talking about God filling something up. Let's just continue reading. Bereshith bara Elohim eth ha shamayim wa eth ha'oras. Now here's where we have in the beginning God fattened the skies and the land. Now God fattened the skies and the land, so it's basically talking about God filling up the skies and the land. Okay, now from what I understand is in ancient Hebrew, the word El meant, it was talking about when they mentioned El, the common understanding of this deity is that it was that which you are yoked to, that which you know what I'm saying, that which we're yoked to. That's an important concept of Hebrew, the concept of yoking. So and so we go on and it says eth, it says waha'aras haitha thahu wavohu. Now and now it's talking about how it's empty. Wehoshech al bnei zehum. Now wehoshech al bnei zehum basically means that the darkness was on the face of the deep sea. It's talking about the darkness, okay, in this. And another thing that is interesting to point out, that needs to be pointed out, is Hebrew does not have a neuter. In Hebrew, every direct object that means before someone would write eth or anything, any kind of object, you will it either has a masculine or a feminine. And another thing to understand that is very important about this, ha'oras, I believe, or ha'aretz, as most people would say it nowadays, it's talking about, this is a feminine word. This is a feminine word. Have you ever heard the phrase, the Mother Earth? This is right here in the Hebrew. This is right here in the Hebrew. Okay? This is not a made-up thing. Okay? This didn't come from, those movies about Santa Claus where they talking to heat miser and cold miser, and they go up to see Mother Nature because they're not listening. That's not who made that up. Okay? That's not what this is. This is in the Hebrew. This is the concept of Mother Earth. It's talking about the earth. Okay? It's not talking about some woman up in the sky, any more than God means a man in the sky. But here we're reading Wehoshech al pnei tehum waruach Elohim merhafath. Now, merhafath, once again, or merhafeth, as most people understand this word, it is also, this is a feminine. This is a feminine tense, and we'll continue after